Hey everybody, 4th of July is coming up and figured I'd make a video on how I shoot fireworks. Now a lot of people out there have been asking questions about it, and so I'll tell you what, let's get over to the other computer and I'll go step by step on how to do it. Alright, let's go. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Bud Kelly, photographer, and now we're on my other computer. Okay, so here's a few photos that I did a long time ago. I haven't shot fireworks in a long time, so um, but somebody I know was asking about how to do it, and so I figured I'm going to make a quick video and kind of run down, um, kind of like little tips and tricks on what to do, and I'm going to make a little video and go through and show you guys what to do. All right, let's go. Okay, so one of the first things you're going to need is that I want to talk about your lens. You kind of want to be at a wide angle, and usually I shoot around 24 millimeter. That's kind of my go-to. Um, you can maybe 50 might be all right. I don't know. It depends really how close you are and whatever. But I like to be at the widest angle possible, because when you are shooting, you got to think, you got to cover that whole sky. Okay, so the wider the better. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, tripod. One of the most important things is that you got to be on a tripod. And if you got a cell phone, uh, point and shoot or whatever, I think those little monopods might be all right. I don't know, because I don't know the settings on. It depends what you got. Um, but I'm kind of showing you how I do with my camera. Okay, so yeah. Anywho, let's get going. All right, tripod. And the reason why you want to be on a tripod, because you don't want your camera to be moving. Okay, so that's very important, because anytime you do night photos or whatever, fireworks, it doesn't matter. When you move your camera, you're going to cause a lot of motion blur. Okay, and that's one thing you don't want. You want everything to be still, and you don't want to be touching the camera. And this is pretty much how it looks when I'm setting up at the location, park, or wherever you go. Okay, now we're going to need a shutter release cable. Okay. And what is a shutter release cable? Okay, so that's a little device you plug into your camera, and so that opens up your shutter manually with a button. Okay, that's going to come into play at the end of the video, and I will get into that later on, so just keep that in mind. This is what you're going to need. Okay, and I think you can get them on Amazon for about barely like $10. I mean, they're not even expensive at all. So yeah, you can find them on Amazon. I mean, it's not a problem at all. Okay, so one thing also with your shutter release is that you got to be in bulb mode. Okay, when you pick your aperture priority, shutter priority manual, you have a bulb mode. Okay, so that bulb mode is what is actually the setting so you can use your shutter release. Okay, but we're not going to go into that. You're not going to switch it over to bulb mode yet, and I'm going to tell you why. Okay, now your settings. Your aperture is going to be around f8 to f11, and your ISO is going to be around 100 to 200. Okay, now here's the misconception that a lot of people get, and this is where a lot of people get confused. It happened to me when I first did it. Okay, so when people makes mistakes, don't worry about. We all do it, and that's what I tell a lot of people. Okay, the misconception is that, oh my God, I'm out of a nighttime. I'm going to have to bump my ISO real high. Okay, I'm going to have to make my aperture wide open. I'm going to need to be at f2.8, et cetera, et cetera. And actually, no, you don't. Um, you got to keep in mind those fireworks are going to be very, very bright. Okay, so my go-to is probably f8, f8. Um, you might want to go to f11 as well, but you might just have to play with that. I mean, that's one thing. I mean, a lot of things ain't exactly pinpoint on. Just some things you just got to mess with when you do it. Okay. Okay, so that's what everything's going to look like on your camera. Okay, so now let's go back. I forgot to put my glasses on. No wonder some things were a little blurry. There we go. Yeah, the older I'm getting, my eyesight's getting a lot worse. Welcome to age. Okay. So when I talked about before you go into bulb mode, now here's what you're going to do. When you have your camera, and you got to be out in daylight, when you get to the location, get there early. Don't worry about how long you have to wait, blah, blah, blah. Get there early so you can find a good spot, get your camera on the tripod, and you're set and ready to go. Okay, so now, before you go into bulb mode and before all that, you want to make sure you're still in autofocus. Okay, now what you're going to do is take your camera and point it at something like a car or any kind of object your camera can focus on. Okay, so your shutter button, when you go halfway down and that starts getting your lens into focus, and you hear that, when your lens is actually going to focus on a subject, okay, get focus on a subject, make sure that lens is fine, and then you're going to switch over to manual. Okay, so and the reason is, like, this is where a lot of people even screw up as well. When they're shooting the photos, and if you're on autofocus and the fireworks are exploding, and then your camera's going to have a very hard time figuring out what to focus on. So then things are just going to get blurry and out of proportion, and it's just not going to look right. Okay, so now once you focused on something, go into manual. Okay, so now don't even touch your focus ring, anything. Okay, so now you're going to make sure you point your camera up at to where you think the fireworks are going to be going off at. Okay, so go ahead and tilt her up at a good angle. And then now, this is where the shutter release and bulb mode comes into play. Okay, so this is why you go into bulb mode. And so now your shutter release, this is how we're going to do it. Okay, so when the fireworks go up, okay, when they start shooting up, hold in your button. Okay, that opens up your shutter. Okay, so then when the fireworks explode, let the button go, and then the shutter's going to close, and that's how you capture the explosion. Okay, so that's really important. Okay, so that's why you need that, and that's exactly how I do it. And so that's pretty much it, guys. And also, again, guys, one thing I tell everybody is that everything I do is not the gospel. There's one saying that I got that every photographer does this, every photographer does it that way. Nobody does a lot of things the same way. Hardly nobody. And I shoot the way I shoot. My photo partner Natasha shoots a different way than I do, but you know what? We have the same end game. Okay. She just, like even all my buddies, they do things a lot different than I do. But I mean, but that's what makes us individual photographers. And again, what I do is not the gospel. You do you. Okay. I'm just giving out tips on what I do and how I do it. Okay, so guys, let's go ahead and wrap up the video and check out all my links down below and feel free to contact me. If you do go out and shoot some photos, feel free to send them to me. And if you got any questions, feel free to contact me at any time. And again, guys, that's about it. So get out there and get shooting. Take care, guys.